Absolutely. So what I am working on at the moment, it's actually expanding in a couple different directions. I'm going to launch a short form different courses, something that is like a bite-sized piece that busy leaders who don't have time to go to coaching for 6 weeks, 12 weeks, sometimes to a year, that they can really get some very quick and practical information. So that's one thing that I'm developing. I'm also designing a program that possibly would go live in the end of the summer.
Welcome to Career Coaching Secrets, the podcast where we talk with successful career coaches on how they built their success and the hard lessons they learned along the way. My name is Davis Nguyen, and I'm the founder of Purple Circle, where we help career coaches scale their business to $100,000 years, $100,000 months, and even $100,000 weeks. Before Purple Circle, I've grown several 7- and 8-figure career coaching businesses myself, and have been a consultant at 2 career coaching businesses that are doing over $100 million each. Whether you're an established coach or building your practice for the first time, you'll discover the secrets to elevating your coaching business.
Hey everyone, welcome to another episode of Career Coaching Secrets podcast. I'm your host Rexhen, and today's guest is Teddy Hristova-Williams, a leadership coach and founder of Accelerate Your Potential Coaching, where she helps business owners reclaim their time, reduce stress, and lead with clarity instead of burnout. With over 2 decades of experience in leadership and communication, she specializes in helping founders step out of the daily grind and into true leadership, empowering their teams, building resilient systems, and scaling sustainably. She's known for her straight talk coaching, deep accountability, and the ability to help high achievers break free from overfunctioning so they can run their business without it running them. And it's a pleasure for me to have her on the podcast today. Welcome to the show, Teddy.
Thank you very much for having me. It's a pleasure to be here.
Thank you for coming, Teddy. It's a pleasure for us to have you on. I wanted to ask you, when it comes to your beginnings and how you started your coaching business. So first of all, what inspired you to become a coach and then start your own coaching business?
So I've always been absolutely fascinated with what makes people, what is it that makes them move in the direction that they move? And why is it that some people have the life that they want and others don't? So that naturally led me at the time to start studying philosophy, and that really gave me a very good understanding. And then later on, to put everything in practice, I actually worked for corporate for nearly 20 years. I worked in a corporate leadership as in one of the largest luxury retailers here in the US. And in that time, I led high-performing teams throughout the country, and really my favorite part of the job was developing people, growing the next leader, taking them in that direction. So as someone who's always learning, I stumbled across NLP, and it was really a love from first sight. It made so many things click for me. So I went very quickly to the different types of training, got all the way to a trainer. And it was at that moment when I really realized that what I really want to make, the impact that I want to make, is not going to be in the company that I work for. Even though I enjoyed it so much, it just wasn't exactly what I was hoping for. So after a lot of thoughts, and I'm not going to lie, it really wasn't an easy decision. I left a very comfortable role that was well paying, I was well recognized, and I started my own coaching business.
Cool. And so right now that you've started it, working with your clients right now, and it's been almost 3.5 years, getting to 4 years, if I'm not mistaken.
That's correct.
Yeah. So going through your coaching journey with your clients, what is it that you find most rewarding since you started doing this?
Really, the most rewarding part is really seeing the transformation, and it doesn't really happen just on the level of their profession, running their business. It really happens with the person, because this is how I approach it. We are a whole human being. We're not just a leader or a business owner or some sort of a professional. We're a human being, and seeing that change that happens on all levels of their life, it's really for me the most rewarding part, seeing them grow really.
Absolutely. And when it comes to these clients, do you find that they fit a specific niche, or like how would you describe the ideal client profile in this case? And then we will also talk about how your program works. But first, let's cover the ideal client profile.
So the people that I help are typically business owners or founders, very successful people. They usually are post-scale stage of their business. They're scaling the business. They have a small team, typically anywhere from 3, 4 to 20, 30 people. And they're very hardworking people, very much into growing the business and doing everything that they need to do. And what happens is that on the outside, everything looks perfect. They've grown, have the revenue, they have the team. It looks like they have the life that they really want. But what's happening internally, it's a little bit chaotic. There are a lot of different emotions. There is a lot of overwhelm. There is over responsibility, not just for their family and their business, but also for their employees, for the community, for their clients. So it seems like these people have it all, but they're really struggling internally. So this is usually where I meet them at that stage. And usually when we start working together, it's never really about the overwhelm or the burnout or any of these things. They'll typically come to me with something like, well, I want to be more productive, or how do I get my team moving in the direction that I want to move? So our work really mostly revolves around scaling the leader first, scaling the person before we can actually scale the business.
Absolutely. So when we're thinking about scaling the leader before we scale the business, how does that program work? How would you describe like a leader engaging with you? For any leader that's listening, how does that engagement work? Is there a certain program that people go through? How would you describe the engagement?
So I usually still working one-on-one with people. I've worked with groups in the past, but I really enjoy the one-on-one work, just because it really allows me to tailor it specific to the person. And yes, there are general frameworks that I use that are pretty universal, but each of us is so different. And it's not just about how we do the problem or how we're in this situation. It's also about what are the resources that we're using? How do we bounce out of it? What do we do? What are our programs that we are running, conscious and unconscious? So that's what I really mostly enjoy, because it really allows me to go specifically to the problem of this person that they have, or maybe to the goal that they want to achieve. And that doesn't happen with theory, because there's some great leadership theories. There are a lot of books we can read, a lot of videos we can watch, but everybody's so specific and different. And I love that part of being able to go to the root cause of that specific problem, or why do we not have the goal that we want to go, and really build that blueprint for that leader. What is it that specifically is going to work for them? Because different things work for different people. And that's the format. This is how I work at the moment with business owners, founders, and other leaders.
And so where do people find you? Or let's say, where do you find people in terms of marketing channels? Which one is working very well for you right now?
So LinkedIn is the main one as far as this type of a marketing channel. But I have to say that a lot of my customers also come from referrals, whether it's from previous clients that I worked, or also from colleagues from my previous job, people that I worked in directly with, this type of a recommendations. But I really have to say that LinkedIn is probably one of the most intelligent platforms out there. So a good amount of them come from there.
And is there a certain strategy that you're utilizing to find people on LinkedIn? Like maybe outbound messaging or is it just inbound, or are you posting content? How are you utilizing it?
All of the above, really. But the one that really works the best is really creating a connection with my potential clients. Whether or not I'm going to coach them, that's a different story. But it's really that personal connection. And it's not about volume. It's not about doing like an outreach of thousands of people, because that usually doesn't come authentic. It's really, my initial intent is really to help them solve a problem, really help them live that life that they really designed this business to support, and somewhere down the line they lost that connection with why is it that. So that has been working quite well.
Cool. Thank you for sharing that. Right now, when we think about your goals into the future, do you have any specific goals for the next 1 to 3 years with the coaching business?
Yeah, absolutely. So what I am working on at the moment, it's actually expanding in a couple different directions. I'm going to launch a short form different courses, something that is like a bite-sized piece that busy leaders who don't have time to go to coaching for 6 weeks, 12 weeks, sometimes for a year, that they can really get some very quick and practical information. So that's one thing that I'm developing. I'm also designing a program that possibly would go live in the end of the summer. That would take me to more corporate clients, which some of the problems that they're actually encountering are very similar, especially in that executive level. They're these high performers, really the driver, the person that's really so identified with the work they do. So that's another avenue that I'm exploring and launching, really creating more courses, really whether it's a short format or something that's really useful for the people who don't have time to spend in coaching and just want to transform the way they lead. Actually, my upcoming course, it's called Lead Smarter, Not Harder. And that's something I'm very excited about creating.
Nice. So you're thinking of further growing, further scaling, even with the courses that you can reach out to more people.
Absolutely. And different formats work for different people. One thing that I found it's with founders and business owners, they're so busy. And even though we all know we really need to prioritize our personal development and growth and professional development, it somehow always ends up on the back burner. I recently did a survey where I asked business owners if they could invest their time and energy into one area of their business, what would that be? And surprisingly, 66% said that would be marketing. And that's great. Marketing is very important. People need to know who we are. We need to be known. But only 3% said that leadership development was something that they were considering. So my goal here is really to help these people in a very meaningful to them way, condense everything I've learned from my one-on-one coaching, the different strategies, the different mindset that would really help them scale themselves to scale the business. And eventually, whether or not they continue with coaching, that's a different story, but really to give them the foundation that they need so they can truly enjoy life while they're running their business too.
And so, while thinking about that, when we think about investments so far in your coaching business, what would you say have been some good investments that you're proud of due to the return? And that could be coaching programs, masterminds, communities, or anything really that you feel like has been a very good investment. And if any, what have been not a very good investments that you would have preferred to have avoided?
Oh my God, I've done it all, really. Every mistake and something that, I'm a human being, so of course I made some. But I'm a lifelong learner. So for me, some of the best investments that I've made in my own development as a coach and personally and on many levels is studying NLP. That was really good. I had really the rare chance to learn from one of the very first students of the creators of NLP. I've also done executive coaching to the Romis Medanis company, which was very good, different levels, great information. I'm a part of a mastermind circle. And besides that, it's not just about the different modalities. I've also explored hypnosis, timeline therapy, relationship coaching, and it's just a lot of different tools that really allow me to help my clients in a different way. And not all of them work for everyone, of course. But my goal really here is to explore different options and see really what is it that really resonates most with them. Now, outside of this, I've done marketing coaching as well. I work with a few different people. And, I always say I'm a coach who's coached too. Because the evolution that I want to walk my clients through, I can't really do that if I haven't done the work myself. And that's never just like a one-time thing, like, okay, I took this course, I learned this, everything is great. It's really a lifelong process where we learn really in the long run. As far as some investments that probably weren't the greatest ones, I would say something I was warned and I still walk into that trap was learning how to sell myself. Like many people said in the very beginning of my career, is like, if you can't sell yourself, no one else can. So I went into the trap, like maybe if I hire this person, they can do this for me. Maybe they get it differently. But until I actually had crystal clear clarity of what is it that I offer, how do I help people, who is my client, who is it that I want to work with, who are the people who really can mostly benefit from my work, no one else really could help me. They had some great tools, they had some great strategies, but until it clicked within myself, I really couldn't make that happened. So it's not so much about the investment as much as about where was I in my own personal development journey. Where was I was not at that level yet to be able to take in all the information that was given to me. So that's where coaching is really not so much informational, but really transformational.
So you'd say it's more like timing. Having the right timing to start a certain coaching program matters a lot, because let's say in one of the investments that you say it was not very good, it was just like your timing was not perfect in that case, right?
Absolutely. And to be honest, it was one of these things I was thinking that someone else would get it, someone else can help me. And of course, there's so many wonderful people who are light years ahead of the experience and knowledge of marketing, which this isn't my area. I'm going to be the first to admit it's not. I'm not the marketing guru by any means. So I always need help in that area. It was really more about my own understanding of what is it that I do, because coaching is such a wide subject. There's so much to do and there's so many things we can do. So to be able to communicate it in a way that makes sense to people is definitely one of the hardest skills to learn, really. And it comes to, and I notice that with my own clients too, it's not about what we give them as information. What is the level of readiness and ability for them to take that to the next level? So it's about really finding that balance of not only am I ready, probably most people would not be ready, but am I ready to take what I need from here and make it my own and incorporate it in my next step?
Absolutely. And right now, and you've already shared quite a few advices, is there any final advice you'd like to give to other coaches like yourself who are looking to scale their impact?
Oh my God, so many. Probably one of the biggest things is not to listen to the voice, the inner voice that tells you that now it's not a good timing. If you have a dream, if you have a desire, and if you wait for the moment that you're going to feel really ready to jump into, that most likely will not happen. So, a lot of times we, especially as coaches, especially the people who are a little bit more intuitive, they think that the fear that they have is their intuition. But this is probably one of the biggest misunderstandings. It's, the voice that keeps us small, that keeps us safe. It's just our nervous system telling us, don't take that step because you're not ready for that level. And that's really not true. So it's what I would say is that fear really here isn't the enemy. And the goal is not to feel fear and to move forward. The danger really isn't in failing. It's in not doing anything. It always comes to mind that quote of failure is more dreams don't come true because of fear of doubt, not of failure. And I can probably say it better. So let me do that very quick. So doubt kills more dreams than failure ever will. There it is. So what I would say is really to act despite that fight or flight response that we all experience as coaches, especially in the beginning, because we're doing something we have never done. And really not to wait for that 100% certainty, just to take that leap forward, to go into what our heart really tells us that we want to do, and that everything's going to come from there. Courage is always the first step.
Thank you. Thank you so much, Teddy. And thank you so much for taking the time to come into our podcast today. For anyone who wants to reach out to you and connect with you, they can go into LinkedIn, Teddy Hristova-Williams. They will be able to find your profile there. I believe there's also a website, which is accelerateyourpotentialcoaching.com, if I'm not mistaken.
That's correct. Absolutely. Thank you for having me.
Cool. It's a pleasure. Thank you so much for coming. This was lovely.
That's it for this episode of Career Coaching Secrets. If you enjoyed this conversation, you can subscribe on YouTube, Spotify, Apple Podcasts, or wherever you're listening to this episode to catch future episodes. This podcast was brought to you by Purple Circle, where we help career coaches scale their business to $100,000 years, $100,000 months, or even $100,000 weeks, all without burning out and making sure that you're making the impact and having the life that you want. To learn more about our community and how we can help you, visit joinpurplecircle.com.